Oh, hello.
Well, fuck's sake. Right, okay. Welcome to the Goatworn Armcast with a very special episode. Today, I am getting to meet my opponents in my upcoming charity battle, Fight for the Homeless. We're going to be taking questions as posed by you lot. And I'm actually going to be taking a bit of a back seat on this one. I'll be answering questions, but largely the running of this particular episode will be in the hands of the rest of the league, who are as follows: Guthrum of Norvik, Just Eastern Things, and of course the Shire Reeve. And of course our big, larger-than-life guest, the Anvil himself.
Hello.
Crikey, like that reverberated through me, and I'm only listening to you through headphones.
It is. Oh no, it is technically the afternoon now, but I've not long woken up because I'm furloughed and I don't have to get up early anymore.
You have the voice of a late night jazz radio host.
Ooh.
Or like Babe Station caller.
Yeah, or Dave Station.
Dave Station.
I think I prefer the jazz musician one, to be honest, but I'll take Dave Station.
Can you say coming up next, Barry White? And
Coming up next, Barry White.
oh yes, that's
I think we found your new calling, mate.
yeah, that's a voice you can set your watch by, isn't it? That's fantastic. Right, I'll shut up. I will pass this over to the league. Actually, I suppose we should kind of start with a bit of introduction for those who haven't actually heard. Well, I say people haven't heard from you, Anvil, but from what I hear of people in... Yeah, I've heard from people in Normannish say that you constantly make yourself known to people. So
I'm very loud and very large, yes.
But for those who've obviously been keeping track, we are fighting each other for and raising money for the homeless. Which charity was it you're raising money for?
I'm raising money for the St. George's Crypt in Leeds, in which my dad actually works as the vicar there, and so I know quite a few of the fellas there. And yeah, I mean, out of all the homeless people I've ever met, they're definitely the best. Not to compare them to the ones you're raising money for. I'm sure they're fine. Mine are better than yours, is what I'm saying.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm supporting the Path Devon in Plymouth, who've been running since the 90s and have been doing excellent work with the homeless.
Not running in the 90s.
They have not been running in the 90s. They've been running since the 90s, and they do excellent work. And without kind of going into it too much, we've definitely seen an increase in homelessness down this way. So I figured that would be an ideal use of funds and a worthwhile cause, and I'm sure Anvil feels the same.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, I'm not living in Leeds anymore, but it is one of the hot spots in the minute. Well, it always has been for homelessness around the place, so it's a trickier place. But from what I've seen, they're doing an amazing job. And this isn't just me like propping up my dad. Like they are phenomenal, and the people there have always been such wonderful sort of smiley people. Even when helping people in such dire situations, they've always been an amazing force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, it's. I think as a reenactor, we have that real sense of community around the campfires at events, even in like our training sessions, and seeing the lack of that with homeless people. They're on the street and people walk past them. That discrepancy in and showing what people can end up losing. It's not just losing your house; it's losing your connection to society. So that's why I feel quite strongly about raising money for it. But speaking of raising money, we do have to give a big thanks to the people who've donated, the people who've been sharing, sending in their artwork to support and putting the word out there.
And there's been
All
some phenomenal
massive,
artwork
yeah.
as well.
It's amazing what people have done for it, and we are very grateful for the exposure and the support. We are particularly grateful for those who've donated. We are now at 85 donations, totaling £1,411.27 at the time of recording this. That's amazing. That's
if I could mention as well, that's
of course
because we set the ticket price at £5, saying if you want to chuck in a £5, get yourself a ticket, because we thought a £5 is not that much, and it means that there's still a decent amount of money coming into it. I expected some people to sort of dig their heels in a bit about that and not pay so much. On average, this is on average. Obviously, some people have been paying a £5. I only paid a £5, but I'm seeing it live, so it's fine. But there are some people who have been paying upwards of £50, and the average is 15. People have, on average, been paying triple the amount they need to, which is just such a fantastically generous and wonderful thing that people have been doing.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, and we can't overstate that enough. And we're still away from the actual battle itself, which we'll cover later. So a big thank you to you guys, and we will now take your questions. So over to the league, present us with the questions.
Right. So first question is by Ross Cronshaw, our very own Ross the Roman. And this question is directed at the Anvil. Given the obvious David and Goliath parallel present here, are you worried Goatworn will pull a hitherto unknown super move out of his jack seat and take you down?
I live in constant fear that my actual fighting prowess will be uncovered, and people will realize that me being a loud, smashy man has just been a cover this entire time, and that just a simple competency of anyone will be able to kick my ass. So what I am worried about is that Goatworn is actually a good fighter, which terrifies me to my very core.
I do worry that this is a double bluff, that he's being overly humble, kind of like you've done both. You've obviously bragged to everyone, like, look at me, I'm the Anvil, I'm the guy in the video. But to me, you've gone, oh no, I'm not actually that good. Very humble. So I don't know which to believe now. And I do have to base, you've got to go with what the physical evidence rather than the the anecdotal. And I just watched that video over and over again where you just smash the guy in the face.
Now, which one, I assume you're talking about the more famous one.
Yeah. It's that's my that whole thing about with dogs. Which end do you believe? The end that's barking or the end that's wagging? This is the conundrum I have with you. Which end do I believe? The end that you smashed into someone's face, or the end that's saying I'm not actually that good?
Well, science is based on what used to be called natural philosophy. And when natural philosophy was the main school of thought, empirical evidence was king. And the empirical evidence is that he's going to trolley you into the ground.
Well, I mean, to address the question itself, I may or may not have a surprise.
Oh. Is it? Are you going to do the
pocket sand?
It's pocket salt.
I was really hoping you were going to pull the parry this, you filthy casual, and just pull a gun.
I was thinking now, it's all fun and games till someone brings the gun on the field. But...
Which, if we end up making this a yearly thing and have various reenacting memes in, I want that guy next. I want the guy in full bowhurt plate with just a Glock. versus the Viking who took the drone down with the javelin. That should be the fight.
Ah, yes.
Ends with a javelin through the eyeball or something.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. I'll be amazed if he wins.
It's all fun and watch. It's all fun and games until you lose depth perception. Who's got the next question?
Oh,
That'd be Hamish.
I'll ask it. This is quite a few questions, I think, built into one. And
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
it's quite a wordy one. So I'm not pronouncing stuff as my thing. I'm gonna absolutely butcher half of this. So from Wilhelmina Dennis, I believe her name is. Dear sirs, it's addressed to both of you. I have question 3. What's your quest? What's your favorite color? And what is the code you must follow to ensure you what is that word?
Sucker.
Sucker.
See, I was going to say skewer. I apologize. What is the code you must follow to ensure you sucker in the darkest of days to avoid the existentialism of system? So it tells you combat on it is mere child's play. Holy
Are we
crap.
going to be including subtitles for just decent things?
Yes.
Just asterisk, Scottish rambling, close asterisk.
I can't read that. Those are words that are way too big for me. So
Yeah, but you're only like 5 foot nothing, so everything's too big for you.
Here come the short jokes.
Out of curiosity, just decent things. Were you one of the rare people who were able to watch Neds without the subtitles?
I'm from Glasgow. What do you think?
See, I was from Perth originally, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't make it. I got about half an hour in, I was like, nah, I'm giving up. I've got subtitles. So, right, okay, well, the first two are easy. Well, no, okay, well, the favourite colour is easy. I like a nice forest green. That's my favourite colour. My quest, as a lifelong thing, I'd like to increase my skill and ability as a blacksmith and be an even shoutier, louder man, if that's possible. And my code that I must find secure in the darkness of days to avoid the existentialism of a system that so tells you a combat and honor is mere child's play. I missed out like 4 words saying that. My code. Well, I've been eating a lot of pancakes recently, and playing lots of computer games in my basement. I'm not sure if that's a code, but that's what I've been doing.
Is it your basement, out of curiosity, or is it Mum's basement?
No, it's actually my basement. So I've moved up from being the basement dwelling virgin in the parents' house, and I can now be in my own basement. So I'm moving up in the world.
Oh, nice. See, Goatworn, you'll get there one day too, mate.
Oh.
you getting your griefs.
All right. What is my quest? To see an end to needless anachronisms in our hobby before, in my time. I would like, for example, to be able to go to a Hastings event and the Anglo-Saxon side are in Anglo-Saxon kit and not just 10th century Vikings cosplaying. To that end, that I'm actually starting with my own kit and making sure that I, follow what I preach on that one. So I'm actually getting together some dedicated Anglo-Saxon 11th century kit for that event, rather than turning up in my Viking gear, hiding the Mjolnir, and shouting oot occasionally. Favorite color? It's black.
Edgelord.
Unapologetic metalhead. And nearly every one of my shirts is black. The time I'm wearing most color is actually at reenactment or when I'm playing shinty, and even then it's still not like super colorful. The code to find succor in the darkest of days to avoid extinct. Yeah. I can see why everyone else had a problem. That's a tricky one. I think it's the salt code. It's the taking the mick out of people who just refuse to move with the times and improve, whilst also facilitating people who do want to improve and
embracing pedantry in all its forms.
Embracing yes. people who can actually look at a standing stone and recognize they are not siege projectiles, but they are in fact shields. So yeah, it's kind of a weird question. And I think we've given suitably weird answers.
I've only met Wilhelmina once. I believe I taught her at the Forge once, and her questions in real life were just as interesting.
Right.
I love that you're not going to elaborate on that. You just leave that one hanging.
Well, because I remember being just as stumped by the real life questions, and
so you're not going to bring that up.
Well, because the last one I went, well,
So
that's
this
pretty complicated, isn't it? Oh, there's someone calling me. Back in a second.
This is another combinational one. How did you guys get into armored combat in the first place, and what were your first piece or pieces of equipment?
Well, I went first last time. On you go.
Yeah, sure. So I got into it at university. I was determined that I'd join a society or a sport, so that I'd keep myself active alongside studying. And I ended up kind of rolling both into one by joining the Viking Society, which was also connected to a reenactment society in Plymouth. At the time, they were mixed medieval, but were looking to do specifically Viking. My first pieces of kit were a pretty shoddy spectacle helm from eBay. Which it did the job in terms of protecting my noggin, but it didn't look an awful lot like the Armband. It was that and an axe, which I still have actually. It was a pretty decent purchase.
Let me think. So my first piece of kit was actually a Halbergian. And I've still got it to this day. It's it's spring steel flat butted, which no one has ever been able to find a copy of. And I wasn't a reenactor when I got that first. I used it because I used to be a bouncer. And I used to wear before that not so much in Hereford. Hereford's a nice peaceful place, but I used to do Perth and Dundee, and there was I used to have my standard, similar to the policeman Kevlar vest sort of thing. And funnily enough, just Eastern things. The only time that any sort of blade or anything had gotten through, or even sort of approached me, really, in the year or so I was there, was by a Glaswegian.
I take great offence to that. You've made an enemy for life.
That's understandable. I apologize, but also just terrible people in general.
See, Just Eastern's going to be my secret weapon now. We're going to come on like Master and Blaster.
It's all fun and games when the 12-foot man runs at you with a 12-foot spear, isn't it?
Master Blaster is the perfect analogy.
Oh, see, I was thinking Banjo-Kazooie. What was it? Yeah, so when I actually got to Hereford, I didn't really wear it very often, but someone, in fact my old housemate, who used to be a reenactor, just happened to be selling a bunch of stuff. And when someone's selling armor and weapons, you go, well, I mean, yeah, that's pretty good. It was a spring steel halberd for a Halbergian, even for 40 quid. That's pretty good. I used to wear that on the doors because generally, if you go to a club and you see the telltale sign of the necktie going outwards and then down, you go, okay, well, they've got armor under there. This is a slightly rougher club. Whereas if you see someone without that, you go, okay, this is a kind of club that doesn't necessarily need that. And having the Halbergian under my shirt meant that people didn't have that initial impression. They didn't think, okay, this is a dodgy place.
It's not a weird shape.
Yeah, it just hugs the body. But that's about it.
With the stab-proof stuff, I've worked on doors myself as well in Bristol, actually. So I completely get what you mean in terms of the kind of wearing it on and getting that first impressions.
Yeah,
that's people see the stab-proofs and they're having people 360 and walk away, just not bother coming into the club.
Yeah,
so you lose that business with it.
Yeah, exactly the same thing. And it's one of those where, like, I mean, Hereford's not a dangerous place, you know. Like, I think there have been 2 knives in 9 years. No, can't be. No, I was in Hereford for 7 years on the doors. And one of them was just immediately, because it was just an idiot who was just taking it out and playing with it because he thought he was real clever. So it's not a, it wasn't a recurring problem. But I don't know if you've ever tried glassing someone while they're wearing chainmail, but it is terrifyingly satisfying to watch them just explode, because obviously all the little links catch it and just goes bang. And so, actually, getting my rambling story back on track, I decided to wear this armor after work to one of my co-workers' birthdays. I think I don't remember a lot. I drank quite a bit, but someone happened to meet me and saw me wearing this armor, because I'd taken everything. I'd taken the rest of the shirt off by then and was going out in just the armor for a laugh. And they were, "Oh, are you one of them?" And assuming they meant reenactors, I guess. I went, no, I'm just drunk. And they went, "Oh, well, my fiance and I meet once a week on the field in Hereford with a few other people and hit each other with sticks. Does that sound like something you'd enjoy?" Yes. Well, why haven't you told me about this earlier? Why am I just finding this out now? Why is there a weekly club where you can hit people with sticks? I'm only finding out now. And so, yeah, that was how I got into it, was just having the armor beforehand and someone noticing me, basically.
The pursuit of violence, we should call that.
Yes, yeah. This is going well so far. I'm enjoying this.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things I remember about that particular one was, I don't remember it, turns out. I had it in my head and it's gone now, never mind. I had it, it's gone.
Yeah.
Going to ask? I had a question right there. It was quite poignant. I was like, no, it's gone. Never mind. Ignore me.
What's our next question?
Okay, the next question is posed by John Fletcher, and this one's aimed at you, Goatworn. At what point did you look at the differing levels of armour and profoundly regret allowing punches, etc.?
Well, the thing is that there's not actually a massive difference in the level of armour. We're both in mail. We're both wearing a form of padding. I don't think, because you've got a gambeson, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, I've got a just an additional thick woolen tunic that goes over my main one. So I'm possibly less padded, but not substantially so. It's not like when I fight my...
It's not a paradigm shift.
Yeah, with the chap I fight at Templecombe in the full Battle of Nations plate, that's a real difference of armor, because with his armor, I can fully swing my Danax at him without pulling the shot, and he won't feel it. He just will not feel that, even if I go for the head. Whereas with the Anvil's armor, being that it's kind of in the same bracket as mine, I will have to pull my shots. I can certainly give a bit of a swing because you like I say, you're padded quite nicely, but there's a world of difference between what you're wearing and what I fought before. So the level of kit isn't the issue, it's the size of the man and absolute unit, and that shield. The kite shield is the main difference. I'm probably going to be more mobile with a round shield.
I was just thinking that, actually, because the amount of armor that we have sort of denotes our styles entirely, because you've got a sort of, I think it's a halberdian and the helmet, and that's all the sort of metal you've got on you, whereas I've got full halberd, I've got Winchester flaps, I've got Chausses, I've got an integrated coif. I think all my steel together is in the realm of about 3 or 4 stone.
Yeah.
So like the styles that we go, I'm assuming. I haven't seen you fight other than with a chair.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming very quick and very agile, whereas I'm the opposite of that.
I mean, you're not going to see me zipping around like Speedy Gonzalez.
And you won't see me do that either.
Naruto running around him.
Yeah. Actually, I might do that for the crack. The difference is largely going to come down to shields. That kite shield, it's certainly not immovable, but you do have a very much more limited range of movement than I do with the route. So I can do a lot more in terms of binds and turning your weapon, etc., etc. But the advantage of the kite shield is you don't need to do those things because you just hold it there and it covers half your body.
Feel comfort behind my coward plank.
Yes, it's a vastly different style of fighting. And I don't want to be hit with that thing. Like,
that's a shame.
Yeah.
Oh no! Anyway,
yeah. That's the thing, is that I know you can take a few shots like that. I could probably take one or two before I start flagging. And that's being generous if I catch it on my shield rather than in the face like the other chap did. So
I had to repair his helmet after that. I felt really guilty.
Bloody hell. Yeah, so
we're really good friends now, though, by the way. I hardly knew him beforehand. He's a great fella.
I feel you have to be after that. So
a bonding experience.
Yeah. So I'm not worried. So to kind of round up the answer, I don't feel off put by the level of armor. I sort of regret the allowing the punches thing, but that's only if he connects. If he goes for the punch and misses, I've got openings. So swings and roundabouts, and hopefully it's not a swing into my roundabout.
Swings and roundhouses.
Swings and roundhouses, yeah.
God, I'm not going to attempt a roundhouse in Chelsea.
I have been told you've got the turning circle of a battleship, so I'm counting on that.
Yeah, no, I'm not the most agile man in the world. Yeah, being as tall as I am, and I think in full armor, I'm about 23, 24 stone. I don't turn very well.
Who's got the next question?
I've got it. It's from Danny Jones, and it's kind of directed at both of you here. Much less words than the last one, so I should be able to do it. Besides the fame and fortune of being meme lords, what do you enjoy more about reenactment? The camping in castles, the shows, the food, the cheers of the crowd as you maim your opponents? Kind of what's your poison inside of reenactment?
Now you see, I would normally, I think my gut reaction would say, oh yeah, the combat, definitely the combat. But then if someone said to me, you still get to go to the yearly show, but you're not allowed to fight, probably because I've done something stupid and I wouldn't be allowed to, which is entirely believable, I'd still go. I know I would, because it's the end of the day. It's. I'm not sure if you guys have the expression "wimples off."
Yeah.
But that feeling at the end of the day, when, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the show, but like hanging out with 300 of your similarly idiot-minded friends and dicking around in a castle,
especially large groups, are very family-like.
Yeah, it is, and it's amazing. I remember walking through Tutbury at the end of the day and thinking, what can I do? What am I going to spend my time on? And looking around and seeing the options before me, which was, there was some people singing sea shanties. There was a tap out or knockout pit. There was a game of Dungeons and Dragons going on. There seemed to be like the knifey finger game going on in one of the tents. Some people playing poker. There was a mead competition, and I'm not sure how it actually worked, but whether it's the quality of the mead or how much you can drink. And I'm not really sure if they knew, to be honest. But the options before me, and I could go up to any one of those groups and just be welcomed, and just go in and be absolutely sort of, hey man, how you doing? And just pass a cup or pass a knife, whichever activity I chose to be in, and just that feeling of I could go anywhere and be universally loved. And this isn't me just being because I'm amazing and I am universally loved. I mean, don't get me wrong, I am. Everyone loves me because I'm great.
You two are incredibly humble, I see.
Thank you. But that feel that anyone could be in that position. Anyone could stand there and go, I can go to any one of these positions and they will welcome me in. And it's that's the feeling. That's what I miss. Because I can go out into a field and fight random jobbies on the street, You know, I mean, it won't last very long because the cops will get it, but you know what I mean. Like, it's not as fun. It's not the community, and I think that's what I miss. I mean, like the cheers of the crowd as you maim your opponents. There are a couple of like key moments in my memory that like they really stick in there as really high up there. But on the average, on the general, I think it's the community. It's the thing I miss the most.
Yeah, absolutely. The community of reenactment, where during the day you're all together in your camps, and after hours you just all socialize. You know, it's a rarity to see people isolate themselves and, you know, like get very insular, and I think those groups kind of do themselves out of the fun, really. Sorry,
which is a shame.
Yeah. But largely it's a real social activity, and it's all shared by a lot of people who love the history, and I think that's the real strength of it. I do love playing to an audience, though. Whether that's educational in a living history camp, or doing, you know, a hosting a weapons demo and talking to them, or doing something silly like the Spanish Archer at Fantasy Forest last year, where I got a guy into the ground and asked, "Do you want to see something special?" and showed them the Spanish Archer, which is obviously an elbow drop onto the opponent. So
why is that the Spanish Archer?
Elbow.
Yeah, it is that bad.
Yeah, I think it's fucking great, personally.
The key is to go, do you want to see the Spanish Archer? And when people give you a quiz, kind of a querying answer, you shout elbow, and as you drop onto your opponent. So yeah, I think we're very much alike there. Obviously, everything about it is kind of too vague and broad an answer, but it is kind of true.
Yeah, I think the only thing we differ in is our quality of puns. Because if you ask any of my friends, they'll tell you that I don't make any sort of terrible puns, and that I stand very much against them. So that's a real shame that we're differing in those opinions. Because
is that something we're going to fight over? Is the usage of puns?
Oh, yeah, well, you can ask any of my friends; they'll tell you that I've an impeccable sense of humor, and that my use of puns is, I consider it lazy.
So you don't have much of a punopoly?
No, I don't know, and I don't understand that reference either. So I appreciate it if you never use a pun again. That'd be great.
Next question.
Okay, this one.
I'll kill you. Sorry.
This one is from Fen Winters, and it's for Mr. Goatworn. Who have you made your will out to?
That will be revealed to whoever kills me.
Is there like a Deus Ex Machina thing where, like, you know, Anvil stomps you into the dirt and some stranger in a hood comes up to him and you know, reveals this secret?
Are they going to come up to me like the guy from the Dark Brotherhood in Oblivion? Like,
yeah.
Sleep awfully sound for a murderer.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But no, I have a contingency. There, you know, the end scene of The Dark Knight Rises, where Joseph Gordon-Levitt goes and finds the Batcave, and it all like opens up and shows him a suit and all the rest of it, and that's what's going to be found by the next Goatworn. They will inherit my passwords and my store of memes and salt.
A single salt mine filled with a dirty USB stick.
Yeah.
You really don't want to go on that USB stick.
As long as they remember to like which memory stick to keep and which one to destroy as per the layout on the will, it should all be good.
Christ, I'm friends with a bunch of wrong uns.
Oh, you knew this.
This is also true.
15
Bold of you to assume we're friends.
Oh, that's rough.
It's okay, Guthrum. It's
Oh
okay.
god. Just a single note saying you must contribute to the salt pile.
That's it. Just so it's actually I've actually arranged for huge vats of salt to be delivered to the doorstep of the Free War Band's leaders.
Are there even any groups left in the Free War Bands? Have they all gone?
No, they've
Oh,
all
no, that-
kind of disappeared.
That group
in-
falling out of existence.
Inside the salt cave, there's just a big red button that says the nuclear option, and it's a lot of nuclear missiles that just go up into the sky, explode, and just deposit salt across the globe.
No. It's a big red button which just immediately gives the world's most mediocre Icelander just a gallon of coffee. Just a gallon of coffee and a single 50p.
Yeah. It's an intro. I don't know if you've met him, Anvil. Have you met the world's most mediocre Icelander?
I've heard his voice, and I believe he's been making some memes for me recently.
Okay. Do yourself a favour.
Which is the line that I heard of, or the line that I read, which was Conrad, take your fucking Ritalin.
Yes, that's the one.
Never give Conrad 50p. If you do, be prepared that you are the outcome of what, like, you're to blame, basically.
So the ends of time being giving Conrad a Red Bull and a puppy.
Oh my god.
Oh no, poor puppy.
No. You just take him to the edge of the lake and you say, "It's okay, you can tend the wabbits," and then you just cock your pistol and shoot him in the head.
Look at the flowers, Conrad. Look at the flowers.
I will be fair to the fella. He has made some very quality memes. And
Conrad's great. Conrad's great.
The two of my favourites so far are just the porn memes that he's made of the two of us.
The Piper Perry one.
The Piper Perry, and I don't know the name of the actresses, but the very tall one and the very small lady.
Ah, yes. I will not implicate myself by telling you which actresses those are.
But you have by telling us that you know
But I mean,
which
you know,
actresses
DM.
they are.
Can neither confirm nor deny. Source down below.
Yeah.
Anyway, next.
I won't be associated with such filth, but DM me.
Never Google. I just Googled them to get the names up. Don't do that.
Oh
Don't do that.
I thought that Googling porn would result in bad results.
Well, the worst
I
one.
wouldn't particularly, but I did just get porn.
The worst one is Googling something that you don't realise is a double entendre.
Yes.
And you want to get something, scientific and
How do you bake a bouquet?
and you just
It's the being really, really careful when you Google Gary Oldman. You leave out a couple of letters, like
just the one letter, the R. If it's gone,
I haven't had a party involving lemons before. Let's see what this is all about.
Oh no.
All right, I'm gonna put a pin in this and
Let's put a link in.
yeah.
no.
yes, lemonparty.org.
No, silence. Right. Right. The next question is from Toby Dones, and it's another one aimed at you, Goatworn. Goatworn, can I have Fuckbringer Jr. when you die?
Absolutely fucking not. That will be a burial item. That'll be a grave good. Unfortunately, that's going with me. They say you can't take it with you. That is untrue. That is coming with me. So you are shit out of luck, Toby, my son. That's not happening.
You can get it, but you have to put the work in yourself and get the shovel.
Yes.
Yeah, a bit of grave robbing, basically.
Yeah, but the thing is that it's not going to be buried in the grave because I won't be in the grave. because for that exact reason, anyone who tries to dig up hoping for a nice shiny axe will actually unveil a grenade.
The salt trap.
I was going to say, I thought you told us just to throw you in the bin.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
Get in the bin.
No, it's very, very thickly salinated water that they just drown in.
This is
Marinated.
the burial plans of Danny DeVito. When I'm dead, just throw me in the trash.
Literally, like, you know, leave me in a really inconvenient place and then just use the money you would have spent on the funeral having a party. So, yeah, it's not happening. You're not getting my stuff. It's not just no.
We'll do with you what they did when the hunting ban protest came in, and just leave you in a row with a sign sticking out of you saying, "This is what happens when you ban home gangs."
Oh wow. That's great because it's topical and it also implicates all flag.
Oh, home gang. While we're in here, let me just do my knuckles. No, I haven't got any salt, don't worry. Or do I?
Oh, dear.
Who's got the next one?
I'll grab it. Yeah, I'll grab it. So, from William Franco, I know him. Have you organised a date to do the fight on yet?
Yes, sort of. The original plan was the 28th of March. However, due to a lot, which was like I'm fairly certain it was me who guessed it. Goatworn.
Goatworn.
Well, you will be soon.
I'm
I'm fairly certain it was me who guessed that date. Was it?
Yes.
But,
Yeah.
It's a pretty bang on date. Like, because this was back in December, January, and I was like, okay, well, we'll make it 28th of March. Things should at least be opening up by then. And like things opening up on the 29th of March, so I was pretty happy with that. So yeah, we're moving it a little bit later to sort of mid-April time. But yeah, don't worry if you don't catch it immediately. The idea is it's going to be a link to a video that you can watch. It's not going to be live. It's going to be recorded and put up there, so you can miss it by a year and watch it later if you want to. Don't worry about sort of getting it on time. The idea was that people don't have to take time off work, and that people in different time zones can watch it whenever they want to as well. That was the idea. So yeah, mid-April time. Keep an eye on the Facebook and the YouTube. No, keep an eye on the Facebook page, and obviously we'll update whenever we can.
That's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah, that's oddly professional. I feel.
Yeah, I was going to say almost professional.
In the live stream, will there be a short fat man in the background screaming at someone else?
Are you talking about yourself?
I mean, it takes one to know one, Marie.
Oh.
It takes one to know one.
Next year's fight for the homeless. So I mean, we can allow a short fat man if they come into the numbers regulation.
It was a joke. It was a very, very bad, poor joke to the home gang for last year. Apologies.
Oh, sorry. Well,
yes, of course, yeah.
We can allow a short, fat, screaming man in the background, but the problem is the COVID regulations. Sadly.
I was going to say, are you actually going on that? Will you not that it's an open invitation or anything, but are you guys just doing it kind of just you two, or will you be having?
We will have a film crew and an announcer, and that's going to be largely it.
Yeah.
So any more gives the game away.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we can't really have many people like turning up as well, because then it's sort of. Well, why are you having this party of 50 people here? I was like, we didn't invite these guys; they just showed up, and it's a bit harder to explain. So
absolutely,
it's why we're being a little bit coy about the specific date.
So, next question, I suppose. So the Welsh Viking asks: shag, marry, kill, Hadrada, Charlemagne, William the Bastard.
Ooh.
I think for my money, it would be marry Hardrada because he seems like a well-rounded chap with lots of different hobbies. So there's never a dull day there. Shag Charlemagne just because repressed emperor type. You're just going to get an explosive one out of that, and kill William the Bastard on principle because he's a Norman.
Yeah. See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Or just regular peg him. Ooh. Now see, this is a tricky one because I like, as much as I am a Norman, William, he was a bit of a bastard, and so I think I probably agree with you on the kill on that one. I definitely wouldn't marry him. Although actually, he didn't live that long, and I'm assuming if I'm marrying, you can inherit it. Maybe. No, I think probably marry Charlemagne. I think Hadrada had a lot of energy about him, so yeah, probably go for the shag there.
That would be my answer as well.
Yeah, and then kill William. Like it's. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like it's not because he's a Norman. It's because he's a bastard.
Actually, on that note, that might actually change my answer slightly. Because there's an opportunity to just shag him, and at the point of closure, shall we say, you go, sex out of wedlock, just like your mum, and
a fine way to die.
So it's a hate fuck rather than a yeah.
So angry. It would be a very angry shag, I imagine, as well.
But there's also the whole thing about, his rapidly. It depends when you do it because of his rapidly deteriorating health towards the end, where he was so fat he died by like bumping his the horn on the saddle of his horse.
Yeah. That's right at crotch level as well. So you wouldn't be good at that. There'd be bruising and awkwardness.
He exploded on his funeral.
Oh God!
Yes, that is a bit gross.
That's the one.
It didn't help that they tried to like shove him into a coffin that was too small for him.
Yeah, big time.
But anyway, yeah, I think that one answers that one.
Maybe there was some sort of historical. Maybe there was some time travel shenanigans, and this very situation is in fact how he died, and they just covered it up for history.
You mean I pulled a Mr. Garrison on him like in South Park? Where...
Maybe we were the reason he exploded at his funeral.
So much salt inside his body.
Oh God!
That has worrying connotations.
Next question, shall we?
He got his saline drip.
Right.
Yeah, I do hope no one out there is listening with their family. No, this is Goatworn Armband, the family show.
Oh no,
family feature.
This is a Christian podcast. Have you mind your words there, please?
Good Christian server.
Listen to the censored version on the other channel. That's 50%.
Yeah.
I think we discovered long ago that this is not for kids.
Right. Fuck.
Sorry, I just like I'm terribly sorry. The channel in which you discussed hate fucking William the Bastard is not rated for children.
I shouldn't be thinking about how that would actually action, but do you ever see that episode of South Park where the two directors are like fucking a random guy because they're owned by Disney now? It's like Indiana Jones is getting screwed by George Lucas as someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just picture like you two and then William the Conqueror as Indiana Jones.
I think the more accurate one is
Squeal like a bastard.
when Mr. Garrison goes to kill the Canadian president, and he's keeping his election pledge to fuck them all to death.
What?
Links down below.
Oh, yeah, links down below to Mr. Garrison literally bumming a man to death.
Fuck.
Well, you wouldn't want to bum a woman to death. That'd be sexist.
Blimey. Right, next question.
Yes, fuck's sakes. Okay. Sweet Amber 92 asks, how much wood would Anvil chuck if Anvil could chuck wood?
Well, I mean, if I was going to say, if I can answer that without words, I've potentially have video evidence, not necessarily chucking, but I hope these videos here answer your question.
I'm going to die.
We love you, boss man, but you're gonna get fucking murked.
I kind of wish I'd seen that footage before I agreed to this. That's what?
No,
That's
it's
not
rough.
right.
You're gonna die, mate.
For anyone who is wondering, my dog is perfectly fine, but I did scold him afterwards.
Yeah. Fuck.
I don't even know what to say to that. You literally just pushed over a full-blown tree.
We've all got to have hobbies.
Yeah, the One Man Iceland, the One Man Icelandic deforestation.
Did you not hear that crunch though? That's why you got to do it. It's that crunch.
Is that what you're going to say after you like break my spine?
Oh,
You've got to do it for the crunch.
Listen, like, you start out with trees, but it only gets you so far.
Most people get their crunch satisfaction from things like cereal or crisps. No, the Anvil gets it from literally pushing over fucking trees.
Me push over tree.
That is absurd.
I mean, with like as reenactment's over, you've got to have a hobby. When you find a good tree that it feels like it's got a good crunch to it, there's a science behind it as well. Some trees work better than others. Oaks are tricky, but like you get a silver birch, they've got the real crunch in them.
Well, that kind of puts paid any idea I might have had about pushing you over during the fight. Jesus H. Christ. Okay, next question while I revise my will.
We'll have to read out that question again then if you do that.
Yeah.
Person whose name I can't pronounce. How did you get your nicknames?
Well, all right. So mine's a bit more obvious because I don't know how Goatworn got here, so I'm curious to listen to that. But mine was pretty easy. I'm a blacksmith by profession. But the first time people started calling me Anvil was at a Clash of Knights event. Do you guys know? Do you guys have Clash of Knights? Is that something you guys have ever done?
Yeah, we've had that in later events for us.
Yeah, it's very silly. It's great fun. It's like armored rugby, sort of. Or I guess armored rugby meets Quidditch because like there's that one little dude with a little magnet on his head running about. You got to catch him.
Okay, maybe I've not. Maybe I've not done this.
So let me briefly explain the rules. Clash of Knights is basically if you're still standing, you're still in the game. So it is mostly tackling with the flat of the shields, run into them real fast, knock them over. And there's one person on the team.
Similar to Boo-Hurt rules.
Yes, but there's less concentration on the weapons because everyone just has these boxy little clubs that are mostly just used for knocking the thing off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's mostly run into them real hard with the shield, knock them over. If you're still standing, you're still playing. So you tend to get the little nippy agile ones who just dodge and make me look like an idiot and just dart around. And they're the ones either with the thing on their head or they're the ones trying to get the thing from the head. And the goal is this little magnetic crest that goes on top of the helmet. And all you do is if you knock it off, you've won. Nice and simple.
Right.
There are very few rules. One of which I was involved in because I'm only aware of 4 rules. So it's like you can't tackle by the neck anymore, you can't punch with the rim of the shield, and once you go down, you stay down. I was involved in an additional rule, which is you can't have an additional knight on your back on your shoulders as a piggyback ride.
I love rules like this because they're always made for a reason.
Yeah, I was the reason.
Well, when I was in the Air Cadets, we were in RAF Bryce Norton for a camp, and we went into the canteen, the mess hall, and on next to the door into the mess hall was a little A4 laminated piece of paper that says "No flip-flops in the mess hall." I really want to know that story, and it's a real shame that I never will.
It's possible. It's probably for the best because it might be just a really boring answer that one of the drill sergeants didn't like the sound of. I can't do it. That was not a flip-flop sound. That was me banging on my desk. But like, they could have just been irritated by the sound. You could have just had a really boring reason. Your imagination will always be better than the real answer.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, the reason we couldn't do we don't like that anymore is because I had a fully armored man on my shoulders with the crest on, and the theory was I just need one person to take the momentum out of everyone else, and I can't be pushed over from a short distance. People can get me with a run up, but like I was like, if I just have him on my shoulders, no one will be able to get him. And so I just stood there, just annoying people who couldn't reach him, shoving them. And everyone else looked very confused. And the referee came over and said, right, so that's not technically a rule, but there is now about sort of 30 stone of you, and you are 10 foot tall, meaning that if you fall, those children are going to die. So we need to bring you down off that. Yeah, that's fair. That's because apparently one of the other teams was planning on doing that classic thing where you kneel behind them and push them over.
Oh, right.
So children would have died. So that's fair. You know, I guess, you know, if they're going to censor us and stop children from dying, then I guess it's reasonable. What was I talking about? Yeah, so how I got my name. So in this is one of my first ones I did, and I was told basically hold the shield and just run in and just knock as many people on the opposite team down as you can. Just run real fast and knock them down. And as you've been told, Goatworn, I don't have a very good turning circle. So when I started running forward, quite a few people just ignored me and went either side of me, and so I couldn't catch them. So I just kept going forward and kept building speed. And so then nobody got in my way, with the exception of the one guy guarding the goal on the other side, who is a beautiful man. He's called Gary, and he well, not anymore. He's lost a lot of weight. He's done real well, but he used to be.
Well, he's not called Gary anymore because he lost
No,
weight.
sorry, no, he's skinny Gary now. No, it's but he's but no, he was heavier than I was while I was wearing my armor. When he wasn't wearing his armor, like he was big. So like this was a worthy target that I knew wasn't going to be able to move out of the way in time. But also a terrifying wall of a man. And so just went, yeah, that'll do, and just continued building a full field's worth of speed in one direction and crashed into him with such a noise that apparently stopped the rest of the game and left us both seeing stars for a little while. He did get hospitalized briefly, but he's fine now. But I was there really seeing stars for a minute, and apparently in the awkward silence, the announcer who just happened to be sitting next to one of my lot was the photographer from Hereford, Ellie. He asked her, "Who's that guy?" And she went, "Oh, that's Ben. He's a blacksmith from Hereford." And just as I'm there wobbling and barely sort of able to stand up, I just hear, "And there, ladies and gentlemen, a phenomenal hit from the Anvil." And I'm there going, "Oh man, that's a really cool nickname. I hope that's me." Like I don't think I did much for the rest of the game because I was just there spinning and barely able to move. But like because of that, and I was like, you know what, that's a cool nickname. I'm going to do my very best to hold on to that nickname because I'm really happy with
it. Can I just say that I really love the way that you tell stories the same way Abe Simpson does.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll tangent all day. Well, see, I was wearing pants back then with an onion tied around me, which was the fashion at the time. Yeah, no, I'll tangent all day. I've really got to focus on what I'm doing.
So, Goatworn Armband is. I know I've told the league this.
We know.
We know. I can't remember if it was during a podcast or not. But
I don't think it was. No,
this is the reveal episode, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh yeah, it's actually not brilliantly exciting, but my group used to be. I used to be in an old group called Dark Phoenix, which ended up obviously being known as Darth Penis to our friends because we just have brilliant friends like that. Then, and as I said, it used to be a mixed medieval group. We changed to be a more Viking-centric group. And with that change, we changed the name because phoenixes aren't really what you think of in a Viking context. So we went with Drenskap Hird, which is was a close approximation of like honourable warband or, in the Old Norse. Now, the problem with that is that a lot of people weren't used to the name change because the group had been known as Darth Penis for a long time. The other problem is that we had this complete illiterate member who went around who couldn't pronounce it, and rather than learn, just called us by the English. But he didn't call us by the actual translation. He called it by a close approximation, which was Oathsworn Warband, which isn't really the translation. Now, in the same way that we got the nickname of Darth Penis, the same guy at Templecoombe introduced us as Goatworn Armband instead of Oathsworn Warband. And when we started making more use of the Norse name and tried to like get away from this like slightly LARPy sounding mistranslation.
That's always the fool's errand to do that. It's like, no, come on, guys, take it seriously. Pick this name instead.
Oh no, it wasn't so much like we were happy with the nickname. It was just trying to get away from this mistranslation because one member couldn't pronounce our name. Okay. So we ended up solidifying the actual name, and the nickname then was Dick's Kept Hard, which I actually really like. The guy's pretty creative. So anyway, this give or take a year or two, I was having a conversation with Barcy, and we were talking about how it'd be funny to kind of, in a saga sort of way, relate all the anecdotes of our group, all the funny goings on, and like, so it kind of bantered back and forth, and the kind of idea came about of a cartoon version, very simplified, very, the short, snappy, 4 panels, maybe a few more, and to call it by how our group used to be referred to, because it was a piss take of our group at the time. Hence the name Goatworn Armband. And then after, as it kind of does, it started off as an in-joke with the group, and the immediate members. I then made a separate page for it just to like not clutter my group's feed with like cartoons when we're trying to organize events. So then obviously they invited friends of the group and other reenactors, and then before I know it, I've got 1,000 followers, and I'm starting to do not just anecdotes about our immediate group, but about the reenactors we interact with as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it started as a complete in-joke, and it wasn't really intended to be what it is now. As somebody said, I think a year back, that and it's one of the highest compliments I've received, actually. They said it's the Dilbert of reenactment.
We were going to call it the dildo of reenactment.
No.
That also makes sense.
But yeah, so that's where the name comes from. And is the origin story for the cartoon as well.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant! I never. I knew it was a mispronunciation of something, but I never knew. Well, thank you very much.
I do have like reenactment nicknames that relate to my portrayal, but we won't give those away.
I kind of want to know who that person was, but then again, I have a feeling it might be a mutual person we both know.
It's not.
It's not. Okay, that's enough said then.
I'd be very surprised if you knew them.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so that answers that one.
That's brilliant. Well, I've always I think I was at least aware of the comics before meeting Barcy, because my connection through you was meeting Barcy when he turned up to Normanus. I definitely knew at least a couple of the comics, because I think it's probably one of the Viking groups I used to train with would share them every now and then. And the one that he loves the most is the bloody, what was it? It was when you tried on the segmentata for the first time.
Yes.
Loyalty to Caesar rising.
Yeah, that's precisely how I felt. It was. There is something about, when you try on a bit of kit or a bit, wield a certain weapon from a certain period, you just go, yes, this I like.
I just tried on plate for the first time the other day, because I starting the Bohurt sort of stuff.
Oh, what style?
Just rusty coat of plate. I
remember we did have a brief conversation about this, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Very nice.
It is.
I-
I got
I'll-
like.
Oh, go on. Sorry.
So I got it very, very cheap. Got it for like 100 quid or something. It's mild steel reenactment stuff. So it's not super suited for bowhurt, but the reason they don't use mild for that is because it dents very easily. But in a group where you've got 5 blacksmiths, it's an easy one to fix. But yeah, it is very, very rusty, and so I tried it on the other day, and it fits pretty well. So yeah, hopefully I'll get that all going, and that could be my bowhurt kit maybe one day.
Opening myself up to being yelled at by everybody. But the first time I put on Lamela, it felt awesome. Obviously,
It's a nice armor.
I like wearing it. I'm not gonna lie. And then
The truth
as a
is,
spear guy, though,
Lamela is cool.
well, you can't
Lamela
use
is
it
cool, and that's the thing.
polearm
That's the
user.
problem.
It doesn't work very well when you're using polearms on feet. So that was my main reason for skipping it and such. But the kind of bowhurt stuff, a lot of the Eastern European groups that I associate a lot with Anvil, and
Yeah.
quite a lot of those guys actually primarily do bowhurt, and then kind of secondary to that they do Eastern as well. And there's a video someone linked me before. You'll have to bug me or find someone. I'll send it to you of this like Russian bowhurt battle going on, and like they're sieging what looks to be like a little gatehouse.
I think I've
And you
seen
can see
this one. Yeah.
One guy on the right hand side must look like he can like
That
climb up
just-
a wall or something.
Just to
and
say,
then-
that's probably not bowhurt. That's probably Eastern style, late medieval.
All I know is he gets a tree
Although-
dropped on it. It doesn't really matter what
Yeah.
style it is.
A lot of the same guys do both bowhurt and what's Eastern style armored stuff. It's kind of the regulations are very similar.
It is a lot of fun I've been having with it so far. Pardon me. Yeah. It's someone was saying to me sort of that it's just armored judo, and I was like, there is a bit of that in that, like, you know, you can start out hitting people as much as you like, sort of thing, but you have to eventually start picking what's the most efficient, especially if it's a competitive thing, and so eventually just shoving people over
Yes.
will become the most efficient thing. Which
I went
That-
along-
especially when they can shield punch, because they can use something like a pavis and just forward punch it into someone's face, which is using the full moment of force of that person to put them on the ground. For example,
looking forward to that.
I went along to the kind of Newport where I am, Dragons HMB group. I don't know exactly what they do, but they do like HMB and IMB and those sort of like 5-on-5, 10v10 small closed tournament things. And the entire training thing, as they called it, consisted of just grabbing people and put them on the floor. I do BJJ. I'm pretty okay at getting some people on the floor, but it didn't feel like, to me anyway, I didn't have a huge amount of fun doing it, but I could definitely see like how it's, you know, how it's developed into its own style, and the kind of culture facing it is really, really awesome. The page just bowhurt things. Does quite a lot of stuff, and I don't think I've come across quite a bad meme on there from them. They do quite a lot of very funny stuff.
Yeah. It's one of the things I like about this. I've liked about like this channel and the page as well, was that it's not just, you know, you making Viking themed memes. There are, you know, you've had Lapas on there, you've had Romans on there, Eastern stuff, and it's a massive spread where someone can go, haha, I do that.
Yes, that's exactly it. So we've got one more question, which is quite an interesting one and probably quite a serious one in that it relates exactly. all the questions so far have been about us, really, but this one actually relates to what we're doing. So if we'll have it read out, we'll close on this one.
This is from John Spider Parry. To both of you, do you think there might be a slight correlation between the much lauded reduction in homelessness the government tells us about and the high rate of homeless deaths that is much less publicised over this last year? Obviously, quite a heavy question.
We're gonna end on a happy note here.
Yeah, we will like lighten it up after this one, but I think it is worth bringing up.
Yeah, I was briefly considering sort of like maybe we should just cut this one, but to be honest, it's a serious question and it needs to be talked about. And I'd like to say before we do this, I am not a politician. my opinions on things like this should not be trusted. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I'll happily talk about it, but don't in any way feel that I know what I'm on about. This is purely sort of my conjecture of the limited knowledge that I have on the subject.
Yeah, I mean, to keep it brief, the problem with putting an exact number on homelessness in the first place is very flawed because it misses out quite a few demographics of homelessness. For one thing, it misses out people who are what we call sofa surfers. So they are, for all intents and purposes, homeless, but they're not on the street. They are still, by every definition, in all the ways that matter, homeless. They don't have a fixed address. They haven't got a means of income, but they're just indoors. So we don't count those when they're in just as serious a situation as anyone else we consider to be homeless. There's a lot of people who go under the radar, of course. That just happens because some people don't want to be found. There is an element of people who actually they just can't be indoors, and they go out of their way to avoid being found and being picked up.
And a lot of the numbers will rely on places like Path Devon and the Crypt.
Precisely,
they need the people to come in and ask for help, and there are plenty of people out there who wouldn't and who can't.
That's another important factor. Is some people, it's a hard thing to ask for help when every day you're on the street and you're being passed by people who won't even look at you, let alone talk to you or give you 50p for food or whatever. So it's, for a wide variety of reasons, the figures are flawed in the first place. And it's quite right to bring up the fact that there was an increase in, or a high rate of homeless deaths. We've just been through a pandemic. These people are out of doors. If they're getting sick, there's not a lot that can be done for them, which is rough. It's really hard to think about that. Where we complain about not being able to go and see mates and everything. There are people who've been outdoors on their own with no support and no facilities during a pandemic. That's rough as fuck.
Yeah. It is a very tricky one to answer because it's saying like the increased rate of homeless deaths. Yeah, but there's been increased rates of everyone deaths, and I don't know the numbers to be able to say whether it's disproportionate, whether the homeless deaths have been going up a lot more. But it's one of those where it's any time, whether it's a pandemic, whether it's a normal year. It's a terrible situation to be in, which is why we're doing this.
Yeah, I think something to remember is that correlation doesn't necessarily mean causation, and that's always worth bearing in mind when you compare a rise in one figure and a lowering in another. But yeah, this is why I feel it's important in all aspects of presenting data is presenting a breakdown, because that reduction in homelessness, what's it taking into account? Is that a reduction because they've homed people? Is that a reduction because people have moved, or they've lost track of people? They're no longer counting them.
Potentially just redefined what homeless means.
Exactly. So without knowing how they're measuring that, it's very hard to say, to make the links, because they may have already taken that into account, or they may not have. That's the key thing, is you need to go further in, and for the government to obviously provide that information.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I think that any number of homelessness, any figure above zero, is a failure of society. In the 21st century, in a first world country, to to have people who are homeless and without, the basic needs that constitute human rights, is a failure.
Yeah.
And it's not just enough to be like, to say, oh yeah, we've rehomed people, and in the interim, they need to be working on the causes of it, how people get into that situation in the first place, which are these charities that obviously we support do a lot towards that. They help mitigate that, and they help tackle the core of the issue, which is obviously valuable. But yeah, it's a difficult question to answer because it feels slightly loaded.
It does a little bit. I mean, I do apologize if I've misinterpreted your question, John, but it does a little bit sound like the question of, do you trust the government?
Which the answer is no, for me. But yeah, is there deliberate misleading in the data? That's a very different question, and without actually getting up all the figures in front of us and dissecting them, with everyone being able to see the figures that I'm seeing, because I could read out anything.
There are also a lot of obviously unpublished figures that the Office for National Statistics will have not given out because of what do they call it? Because it's basically not in the public domain, and you can't have a freedom of information request. So there is information that they are collecting and processing that we simply won't know because it's the most up-to-date stuff, and they haven't processed it.
So
yeah,
go on.
Sorry, as probably the most qualified data analyst here, that's literally my field, what I work in. Anything publicly available will be my words out. Anything publicly available.
Experts in their ivory towers.
I know. I'm sorry. Any information you get publicly available, especially with the ONO, which is about a quarter of a mile from where I work, and I have family members that work in the Office of National Statistics, is presented in such a way that it's either very, very difficult or impossible to review and understand, or it's painted in a way that it doesn't look as bad as it is. So if you do poll publicly available stuff, the data is shit. Fundamentally,
it's not raw data. It's them.
It's not.
Processing it.
I'm not saying don't trust the government. I'm not at all saying that. But any publicly available data that you can get from any private company or public company, never trust. Never trust at all.
Yeah.
Ever.
I mean, that's precisely why I don't want to put a firm answer in terms of a yes or no, value on this, but only to talk in. The bigger picture.
Yeah, I can't pronounce stuff, but I'm really good at numbers.
Yeah. No.
So
I think the important takeaway is that a reduction is only meaningful if that is tackling actual issues. So people have been rehomed. If there are less, just because when you went out, there were less on the street than when you did before, and that's all that you've gleaned from that
that's
data.
the only metric they're using. Yeah,
that's the only metric. Then that doesn't tell us anything, and it doesn't actually reflect a positive move, really. Going, if I went down to the park and said, "Oh, I found 10 pigeons," and I go back the next day and there's 15 pigeons, I can't make the conclusion that we must be benefiting pigeons because there's more now.
There's a higher national amount of pigeons.
Yeah, like that. Yeah. That's just a comparison. It doesn't that doesn't take into account the hows and why. So that's probably a poor analogy, but I think it gets across what I'm trying to say.
One of the best ones that I've heard, which will resonate more with Americans due to sort of the situation itself, but the best situation I heard to explain the cause versus causality is that there is a very solid and well-backed fact that in America, people who own horses are much more likely to live longer. And so, without any
stuff like Marmite consumption and the rate of births and things like that, where they can show.
Yeah, exactly. Without any further information, you can just assume that horses make you live longer. Simple answer, nice and Occam's razor. There we are. You live longer if you have a horse, and the simple thing is, if you're rich enough to afford a horse, you're rich enough to afford health insurance.
Sorry, I've just got some examples.
Go on.
Per capita cheese consumption and number of people who died by becoming tangled in their bed sheets.
Is there a positive correlation between the two of those?
Positive. Yeah. I'll put a picture up. On
I assume
on
not
the
of someone
screen.
tangling up in their. It's not a picture of someone tangling up. Wow, that is pretty matching. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder what the actual correlation was there. Huh.
Yeah, I'm looking at this now. It's it's all on one website called Spurious Correlations, and they've got lots of examples of oh, these are insane. Yeah. Anyway, that's a bit of a tangent, but
that was actually a rather nice, light-hearted way to end. That was with examples of what poor correlation looks like. That's actually very well linked segue. There.
Thank God, because that was going to be a real hard one otherwise.
Yeah. Well,
that was a good tangent.
Oh.
I thought you didn't like puns, Anvil.
I've never said that in my life. How dare you accuse me of saying such a thing? I'll kill you.
Can we edit this so every answer is just him shouting "I'll kill you"? And just paint him as this complete psychopath.
Only if we do. That's God damn it. That's another Simpsons reference in there when he's being accused of sexually harassing someone. And it's just like they just pause it when he's got a funny face on. No, Mr. Simpson, please control your rage.
The best thing recently I've seen is someone went into like an in-depth discussion about that time where Principal Skinner was on about the Aurora Borealis being completely like in his kitchen, in his oven at that time of the year in Springfield. It was just like, the science behind it.
I'd also like if you do that edit of this video, then I'd also like the edit of Just Eastern Things. Every single answer being you just made an enemy for life. It may please you to know, Just Eastern, regarding all the various height jokes. I'm
not that sure.
No. This isn't about you. Actually, it's not all about you, Just Eastern.
Right.
Jesus. That for the every single time somebody was doing a stat sheet or someone was putting up statistics on Goatworn, I always made him shorter and lighter than he was.
Yeah, so, he had me down as 5'10".
And my favourite one was occasionally putting, because he's 6 foot, was putting 5'11" and 3/4.
See if I can dig the picture out. There's someone posted a picture from Volin. I got tagged in it recently, but it was in like a private, like Red Wing only group thing where we're discussing like tactics and stuff for either this year or next year. And there's this picture of like where my team are, and it's at such a height that all you can see is just my spear, and it's quite obviously my spear because I've got a blue ribbon around it.
Yeah, you can recognize it.
There's all of these guys that are like average height. And then you can't see me, but you can see my spear and like the very tippy top of my hat. And I'm like, it doesn't paint me in a great light where every picture where like we're discussing these things, it's just you can't see me at all. But it'll be interesting to see how this goes in terms of the fight. It's a hell of a thing you boys have done, and you should be very proud of yourselves. Even so far without the fight, without Goatworn getting the shit knocked out of him. Love you, bro.
Yes, I'm very much in the camp of I am, hashtag Team Goatworn, but you will get, tent pegged.
I mean, I can teach you some dirty moves, but he's been a bouncer. He knows some of these. There's only so many eyeballs you can poke, and then if he's wearing a decent helmet, you're not going to be able to poke his eyeballs out.
That's why I had the eye holes designed to be extra small.
Oh,
can't fit the thumbs,
of course.
And like, as much as don't get me wrong, I very much enjoy the attention and loving getting all the credit because I'm just this amazing and handsome and charismatic man. it's been the amount of people that have been helping us, like the amount of people. I mean, like a lot of people I've been bothering to help us. Like I've been going up to people and be, hey man, you draw real good. Do you mind drawing something for us? But there have been people who just done it off the skin of their own back. They've been drawing stuff. They've been making stuff. There's a lady in America who's made a little pair of earrings with our shields on. We've just got this brilliant spear stand. The guy's been making that website. I have been just non-stop bothering him every time something goes wrong with it because I don't know anything about technology. The guy's been making my video. Like I don't know if you saw the silly the charity advert sort of thing I did recently.
That one, yeah.
I feel really guilty because I can't edit videos, but he does such a good job, and I get I'll just message him like, "Hey man, how you doing?" He's like, "What do you need doing now?" and I do feel guilty, but he's so good, and like everyone's just been really, really fantastic about helping this out because it's for this cause. Everyone's been helping, like just wherever they can, either drawing stuff or making stuff, or even just spreading it. And if anyone is out there listening,
spreading the salt,
spreading the salt. If anyone wants to go out there and like just tell, I'm sure people listening here who know people who like swords and who like weapons or history or anything, who go, yeah, I'm sure that'd be pretty interesting. Share it with them. Tell the world. Irritate people until they go, fine, I'll buy a bastard ticket. Tell as many people as you can. Go on Shadiversity's channel and chastise him for using my video and not giving me credit. Whatever you want to do. Please do that last one though. That'd be really funny.
You heard it here first. That's official. The Anvil has given you an order to troll Shad Diversity.
Just like not I'm not saying we abuse him. I'm just saying like it'd be really nice to get like just a mention on his channel because it is for charity. And I'm
saying we abuse him.
Okay, never mind.
Maybe we can get Scalagrim to take a break from talking nonsense about helmets and give us a shout out.
Also, entirely not historical at all. But MXR, I really like their channel, and we've both been on his channel because he just reviews memes.
Oh yes,
both of us have been on his channel. They're a lovely little couple. I'd love for them to give us a mention. That'd be great.
Well, on that note,
abuse them.
We've answered the questions. We hope people have enjoyed the interview with. This might be the last time you hear me alive, actually. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you look forward to the battle. I will do my best to last more than 5 minutes.
Title of your sex tape.
Yeah, it's a promise I've often failed to keep.
I have a request, Anvil.
Yes.
Specifically relating to Goatworn. And Goatworn, this is a request for you. If you're going to, it sounds like a defeatist attitude already. So if you get an opportunity to hyper wedgie him, can you please do it, Anvil? I'm not talking about like a normal. I'm talking about full on hyper wedgie.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like
that's why you preface it with hyper. You know, it's like another level.
I mean, like I'm assuming you're going to be wearing linen braids, will you?
I'm not telling you.
Oh well, we'll have to find out on the day.
You know, when you reach down there and get a handful of skin, that's going to be.
He's just packing bread in his pants. You'll never expect this.
Well, it's not bread, but it'll smell like bread, and it'll have plenty of yeast in it.
Oh no!
Oh
no! Oh God! And on that,
you masochist, making me edit this.
Oh God!
On that note, we will say thank you to the Anvil, to Guthrum of Norvik, to Just Eastern Things, and the Shire Reeve, for those three for hosting and presenting the questions to us. This has been the Goatworn Armcast. I will see you possibly in a cast next time. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it.
Good one. Yeah, see you later, guys.
Bye.
yeah.